online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Saul fans. Welcome to the second episode of the Better Call Saul podcast here on AfterBuzz TV, talking about Season 1, Episode 2, Mijo. I am Matt Lieberman. Joining me on the panel all season long. You heard them all last night, and I'm joining them tonight. Mr. Zach Wilson is here.
Hey, guys.
Mr. Stephen Lemieux is here.
Hey, guys. I'm in the chat. Be sure to comment.
Yes, and the fantastic Pegah Rad is here. Yes, and of course, folks, if you are watching us live on YouTube, hello. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We do over 100 shows a week here. It's a big undertaking. And if you want to talk to us, you can talk to us live on the chat roll, or you can tweet at us using the hashtag ABTVSaul. Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're using.
ABTVSaul. And you can tweet at me at Matt Lieberman. That's MATTLIEBERMAN.
You guys can tweet at me, Zach, at that Zach Wilson, THATZACHWILSON.
At Pegah Rad, name's right here.
And at Stephen Lemieux, STPHN, LEMIEUX. All right,
awesome. So let's talk about this episode. What did you guys think?
I loved it. I cracked up. I was cracking up for a good portion of the episode. What about you guys?
I think this really shined when they described the show as a very morbidly dark comedy.
Yes.
This is the show we signed up for.
Yes.
Like the like I'm cringing and like I can't it's like hard to look at except that I'm laughing for some reason.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a bad person for laughing at certain times, but that's what I wanted.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think there's ever been a show quite like this produced with the level of awareness that this has. And if this episode is indicative of what we're going to be getting over the course of the series, I'm very excited.
Me too.
You know, last night's episode was very much letting us know, where is Jimmy McGill now? Who is he now? What kind of struggles is he up against? What does he care about? It was setting up a whole hell of a lot. And then as soon as that gun came out at the very end, we all knew that we were getting pulled into something a lot deeper. You know, one really big, stupid, bad decision pulled you into a world you couldn't even possibly imagine. And it's such a pleasure to see Tuco on screen again.
Oh, yeah.
You know, now I may be misremembering, and people in the chat will tell me if I am, but I'm pretty sure Vince Gilligan had further plans for Tuco beyond when he was contracted. Right?
Yes,
Pegah?
he got signed up for, I think, The Outsiders or some show. Yeah. And he couldn't as an actor.
Exactly. He wound up having schedule conflicts, so they killed off the character.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they were overjoyed when they were like, well, what are we going to do with a Breaking Bad prequel? Obviously, let's bring in Tuco and see how he became who he became. And at first, I'm thinking, oh, wow, so this is Tuco before drugs went to his brain. This is like nice Tuco, because he's handling his Abuela, his Abuelita, you know, he's like listening, but he's very calm. And then as soon as he picked up that walker, I'm just like, oh right, okay, this is Tuco we're talking about.
He goes from 0 to 100. But
Snap.
honestly,
Dude, respect the Abuelita.
Yeah, you gotta
Don't
respect
call her
it.
a biznatch.
no biznatch up in this
And
Abuelita.
that term is so 2002, isn't it? Like, skater boy.
The amount of times that people have said biznatch on this show is amazing.
And it's only been 2 episodes.
I
know.
It's a high biznatch quotient.
I think it's very hashtagable, you know,
Hashtag biznatch.
But like watching this episode compared to the first had a lot of setup. Of course, they need that. But watching the second episode, the scene in the desert. It's very rare that I'm watching a television show and feel like I have never seen a scene like this on TV before.
Oh, absolutely. The negotiation we're talking about. And we're gonna get to that. Well, I mean, we can just talk about it here. Just like what I think this show does so beautifully is exactly what you were talking about, Pegah, and what you were talking about, Stephen, is that level of black comedy where we are watching something that is so blissfully absurd, but the stakes are also very, very real.
Yeah.
And you know, laughter as like scientifically, if we go all the way back to when we were living out in plains and caves and whatever, and we had constant danger around us all the time, laughter is our unconscious release of tension.
Right.
You know, there's something rustling in the bushes. It could be like an animal that's ready to kill you, or it could be a fluffy bunny. And when you see a fluffy bunny instead of an animal ready to kill you, all that tension of thinking you might die, it releases. And having a show where where we know the world it's set in is dark and violent and terrible things happen, because we've seen them happen. 7 years in this show's future? So all that tension is going to lead to a lot of awesome laughs. It's like that scene at the bar where he's cracking the bread. I could not stop howling, because you know his mind and heart and stomach are just doing flip-flops.
Because you can feel like with it's just bread breaking, but you can feel the pain, because like even just hearing the bones snap on television, you just like you cringe, and the breadsticks is just like reliving it. It's just like him. I want to like look away.
Well, it's just it makes James McGill shine when he's put in a situation that it's life or death. And that's what we saw so many times with Breaking Bad, and that's what's so great to see now with the skater guys. Their lives are at stake, and that's when he turns it on and starts negotiating body parts with Tuco.
Right. Well, let's here. What were we going to say,
he could
Pegah?
have let them go. Like what, you know, we're seeing a side of Saul or whatever, Jimmy, that we saw also last episode, where he has this caring, nurturing side. He actually cares for the well-being of people. And we didn't see that in Breaking Bad.
I disagree. I think he absolutely cared about people. He was
Bad?
Yeah, he was a shark for sure. Like, he's going out and he's a lawyer. Like, he's getting everybody their due. He wants to get his due, but he still cares. Like, he wants to do right by everybody while still making a nice piece for himself.
Yeah, I want to hop on what Zach's saying. Like, if you think about how he treated Jesse, especially in, like season 3, season 4, when he was trying to get him to walk away from the life, he genuinely wanted him to take the money and go.
That's true.
I think it's just he had been burned so many times by that point that he was going to try, but he wasn't going to try that hard.
Right.
He wasn't going to get that invested, because ultimately he knows that sometimes people are just going to make bad decisions, and there's nothing he can do to help. And I think that's part of the beauty of this show, is we're going to watch that empathy erode away. It's something that's kind of like disgusting, but also very fascinating, because frankly, I didn't know that it existed until we watched that pilot.
I mean, basically what we're getting out of this show, it's very similar to Breaking Bad, not in like all the stuff that people will inevitably talk about, but when you rewatch Breaking Bad, knowing where it's going, knowing that it's the creation of a villain, basically, the creation of a terrible bad guy who like cooks drugs and does all this stuff. It's all just the build up to that, the slow build. Now we know where Saul is. Like, when he's Saul Goodman as we know him, we know where he's going. This is going back, and we're going to tell that story of how he became the lawyer up, billboard, like Better Call Saul guy, from the basic, like, really good, like, human being who's like a public defender, and he's like just trying to do right by everybody. He's not a criminal. I'm not a criminal. I'm just a lawyer. Don't ask me to do that kind of thing. To, you need to fake your identity and just get away from everything, and like, you need to deal drugs on just one call, one phone call. I got you.
Yeah. So let's jump back to the top of the episode.
Yeah.
So we've got these two brothers who just blissfully stupid performances from these two guys as they are just hounding this old woman who could not be more confused. Now, he says that this is his Abuelita, which means this is Tio Salamanca's wife.
No, Tio's his uncle.
Tio's his uncle.
And this is his grandmother.
Okay, got it. All right, so is this Tio's sister? Or Tio's aunt?
His aunt.
Tio's aunt.
So it'd be Hector Salamanca's aunt.
Huh?
But with families, you never know how broken up age differences are.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying they're both old.
Yeah,
I was expecting them to be in the same age range, but that's fine.
Or theoretically, I guess it could be Hector's mother.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah. In any case, ushers her up the stairs, and he beats the hell out of these guys. And then she hears like a bunch of thudding, and she comes out, and he's just scrubbing frantically at that stain.
Spilled the salsa.
Yeah, exactly. Spilled the salsa. So funny. And we actually had a tweet. Matt PQ91 on Twitter wants to know, did Tuco get the stain out? Because if you don't get it out quickly, it's never going to lift out.
I think he was busy.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he
I don't think he
did.
got to
I don't think he got to
He
it.
did not get the soda water.
Yeah, but if he didn't get the club soda, if he didn't put the club soda on it, then Mom's gonna know that it's blood. Maybe he got no dose to do it after he arrived.
Maybe.
I don't know. I also. I feel like there was kind of a little bit of a subtext mission statement there about, and maybe I'm reading too heavily into it, about once you let it set in, if you don't take care of it soon enough, it gets stuck. And I'm wondering if that's kind of like a little piece on corruption or on Jimmy's correction. Yeah, reaching. All right. Some people will say that's like the key thing of the whole series. I'm not saying that. It just occurred to me.
Look, some people are gonna get it on us for like maybe reaching a little bit. This show is very deep. There is such a thing as going too far, but it's fun. So we're gonna go too far.
Well,
settle
when
in.
Saul came into the house, it showed the reflection of himself in the mirror, and I really think that's
Okay, no, that's a reach. That's just mocking me. But I loved how we played out the final moments of the last episode from Tuco's perspective with the exact same choreography, like literally down to a move on the part of the performer. Just like watching Bob Odenkirk on the outside and then doing it again. It was just like really, really fun. And then seeing him like recognize his situation and immediately try to figure out what to do. His monologue there in the chair, like all of his monologues in this episode, were flat out brilliant.
Well, what I found interesting about that scene is that usually shows will have the cliffhanger like that and then start right at that point. But how they did this really put us in the scene before, which is kind of like an actor technique where you put yourself in the moment before you enter the scene.
Yes.
And that kind of was interesting as a viewer to experience, and it actually puts you back into the spot that you were at the end of the previous episode.
Oh yeah, because you could start right there and like keep going from Jimmy's perspective, and just like he gets pulled in and then he's sitting down. But to see what Tuco was doing, like he was just cooking
up some salsa, making salsa.
Yeah, when this all went down, and also seeing like what he did, like leading up to it with the kids, changed. It made it such a more intense moment than just continuing and pulling him in, and then
it lent it a lot of power. What were you going to say, Pegah?
I was just saying how his monologue was so good that he said, "Wow, you got a mouth on you."
Yeah,
like it left him speechless.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I read a thing today, sort of like a post-mortem of the first episode with Bob Odenkirk and Vince Gilligan, and he talked about how Bob Odenkirk works non-stop on this show because he's on every page of the script, and it's almost entirely him talking. He talks so much in this show.
Totally.
I'd be interested to know how much is actually ad-libbed at some point.
Probably very little.
Very little.
Really?
Yeah.
On
With
most
this
series, it's very little.
With this, especially with a writing staff that they've got, like a quality writing staff, there's going to be very little ad-libbing.
Very little.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's hard. It's got to be hard to do that much dialogue straight off the page. So he gets to the point where he basically convinces Tuco to like, let's just let him go. It was a misunderstanding. They weren't supposed to be with your Abuelita. They weren't messing with your Abuelita. Like, I'm being fair with you. Let's just do this. And then the stupid damn kids open their dumb damn mouths.
It was his idea.
Immediately. And it's just like, he reaches for the knife back and we're like, oh no.
I wanted
doesn't
Saul
like
to
them.
like punch him right there.
Oh
It's like,
man,
Jimmy.
I wanted Jimmy to punch that other lawyer who kept trying to give him petty with a prior.
Oh yeah. Prior.
I just wanted him to punch through. I was so happy when he finally was able to negotiate and get something different. But that's skipping ahead. So we get to this beautiful desert scene, and like from that first shot of Jimmy landing right in front of the camera with the blue sky and the panic on his face and the duct tape, it's just like, oh yeah, we're back. oh, this feels familiar and cool. I love this.
It felt dangerous.
Yes.
Like that's the brilliance of that. How that scene is constructed is that because we know that Jimmy's making it out alive. We know that Jimmy's not going to get his finger cut off.
Right.
Like
True.
we know that's the risk of doing a prequel is that there's certain stakes that you just don't get to play with. But it still felt dangerous, like because of the two kids being there. That was the brilliance of having them there. It wasn't that he got caught in a situation; it was like he got caught there with some other people.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of writers of this caliber is that they can recognize, okay, traditional stakes do not work here. But by setting up Jimmy's empathy and making that his defining flaw at the top of this series, where the fact that he is empathetic, you know, towards his brother, and he's going to like work really hard to try to get him where he's supposed to be. The fact that he has empathy towards these kids and he can't just like leave them to die, and it's gonna continue to put him in more and more dangerous situations. Having that be one of his defining flaws makes him a danger to himself.
Well, what's interesting too is when you know that he's not going to die, know that he's not going to lose a limb, it leaves your imagination to wonder what they can do to him that would heal by the time of the next thing. So you can still picture him getting pretty badly injured.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
100%.
Black eye.
Yeah.
He's already got a black eye.
Got a black guy.
Oh, somebody, Matt P. tweeted us, an eye for an eye. So you want me to blind them?
Yeah. That negotiation was just stellar.
The Colombian necktie.
Yeah.
I died.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
I feel that a lot of acting classes in LA are going to be doing this scene in the near future because it was phenomenal, and the way the characters play off of each other with the silences and the
beats are
responses.
perfect.
Yeah, but if you take that to like a casting director workshop, good luck. You better be good at it, man, because you
You got to bring some intensity on both sides of that.
Yeah.
Joan Snark in the chat says, shout out to Michelle McLaren for directing this episode.
Yeah, Michelle McLaren is a fantastic director. I mean, she's done a bunch of Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Leftovers,
and now she's directing Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
She's one of the greatest television drama directors of all time. I personally like on the quality like of her work across those few series.
Her track record is like just amazingly strong.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, there's no one's gonna fight on that.
All right.
Yeah.
No, on that, I'm really gonna quickly just mention iTunes. You know, folks, the best way to support AfterBuzz TV is to go to iTunes, rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch on YouTube. It is quick, it is easy, it doesn't cost you a single solitary dime, not even a penny, not even a halfpenny, which is half of a penny if you're paying attention. Because here's the thing, folks, we put out over 100 hours of free after show content a week. It is the widest array of after show content anywhere on the web. I can take that to court and still win because it is the truth.
And because we got Saul on our side.
Yeah,
Because we got Jimmy Gill. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer you know. A name you know.
Oh, good old
Best
Gil.
lawyer
Oh,
ever.
good
A
old
lawyer
Gil.
you can trust.
Yes. So go to iTunes, rate and review the shows, and I'll tell you why. Because AfterBuzz TV, we are supported by wonderful sponsors. Our sponsors find and trust our product by knowing that our fans are big fans of the show, that people who not only download the show, like the show, are communicating with us, that we have an active fan base, because it tells them this is a quality investment. So your ratings and reviews, those quick little easy free things that you do, help keep our doors open and our lights on. So go to iTunes, rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch on YouTube. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, while we're in this we don't have any shout outs yet because the iTunes hasn't even had time to update with the reviews.
Yeah.
But I do want to give a shout out to, I guess you could call it a correction yesterday. Fans were saying that they saw Vince Gilligan in the background of the show last night, and I have it on good authority that was wrong. So I'm taking back. Shout out to Genghis Cohen in the chat roll who would have a good argument, but I have it on
very good authority.
Yeah, I have it on good authority that it was not Vince Gilligan.
We will, however, I'll take a quick second, shout out people in chat roll. Shout out to Benjamin Fredette, Delva Borno, Joan Snark, let's see who else we got
Bastiano
here.
Rossi.
Bastiano Rossi, Miss MC Scrabulous, The Rocket Clock, and Ninjini, all in the chat, chatting it up.
Wonderful.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
I just want to talk about the way that this desert scene was shot, like the way the colors pop, the blue of the sky versus the kind of like arid yellows and browns of what's going on down on the ground.
Also, if you notice, when you watch Breaking Bad, the sky is not the main focal point. They usually have the ground be the focal point, maybe
Absolutely.
1/3 be the sky. This is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to see that they shot it in the desert, but made it seem more freeing than it was in Breaking Bad.
That's true. There was a sort of it was a very low angle, like looking up.
That's really fascinating, because if you think about that from a psychological point of view, you've got Walter, who's got this ticking death clock, and is obviously feeling encroached at all times, and is just kind of racing to try to make these dreams happen and to make his empire a thing and not die in the process and leave something to his kids. Versus we have Jimmy McGill, whose life is still pretty much wide open at this point. And I have to wonder if that sky to ground ratio is going to shrink and change over the course of this series.
That'd be interesting.
And eventually become the dangerous world that we know from Breaking Bad.
Maybe we're seeing Jimmy already as low as he can go, and the only way he can go is up. So we see a lot of sky.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Or if the sky represents his innocence. Because as he gets darker, I mean, he's. I don't think this show isn't really showing the fall of Jimmy. This is as much as it's just showing how he's built his contacts and how he's gotten to where he is today, which is really where most of the story lies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
there's a lot that you can find, again, because of getting a quality director like Michelle McLaren. Quality writers. I don't have in front of me who wrote this episode.
I don't either. It's all right.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, but I want to just shout out what Pegah said about he is at his lowest and he's going to be built up into something. The ground is going to rise as he continues to rise and becomes this thing, which, frankly, we call it a rise, but it really is a moral fall.
It really is, yeah.
So we introduce in this desert sequence the characters of Nacho and No Doze. No Doze, who only gets one line and made me laugh out loud, and I can't wait to see more of him. But Nacho really, really fascinates me because he's obviously more intelligent than Tuco. Obviously way more intelligent. He's lower on the food chain, but Tuco still takes his advice. So
very, very politically, though. Like, he still has to speak to Tuco in a different way. And I think that's what interested him about Saul, is the fact that Saul could talk down Tuco, and the fact that that was possible with someone who's never met him before.
Right. And I think also they're at a level in the drug game where they've never considered maybe having a lawyer, or that's something that they would need or even want. So to have this guy who's just a great negotiator, even in the heat and stress of being in the desert with a bunch of guys who want to kill your clients, is definitely intriguing to him. You're right. He's never seen someone stand up to Tuco quite like that, except for himself. Now, I love Michael Mando. I watched him on Orphan Black. This is definitely a far more compelling character for him to play than Vic, which is a little more simple, though he was dealing with addiction. That's a whole other thing. But I'm very, very excited. Everything that I saw from him in this episode was very intriguing. What did you guys think? Any other thoughts on Nacho before we move on?
I mean, he's a great character. I think there's a lot of exciting directions that this character can go in.
Right. I feel like he's propelling him forward.
Yeah, and just based on we'll get to what he comes in with later, because there's so much stuff that we could talk about.
We're touching on him later, then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I have Joan Snark with the assist episode. The episode was written by Peter Gould,
the
who, of course, Vince Gilligan wrote the pilot for Better Call Saul, and then Peter Gould, who's again created the character of Saul Goodman and is the co-showrunner here.
Yeah.
Wrote the second one.
Yeah. So he's able to negotiate it down to one broken leg for each of them. And the reckless joy that Tuco takes in breaking these legs is so horrifying.
Let's break this down a bit. So they go from killing them to, okay, I'll cut out their tongues. Well, actually went from flaying them to cutting out their tongues to, what is it called?
Colombian necktie.
A Colombian necktie, which if you guys don't know...
You take your tongue and you pull it out through the slit in your throat. Yeah.
Oof.
the necktie
Oh, you
thing.
didn't know
It's so
that?
hard. No, I
Yeah, it's-
hadn't heard of it. I mean, I think I'd heard the term
For those
before.
of you who don't know,
but
it's when you cut a slit in someone's throat and then you pull the tongue down through it, so it looks like a weird tie coming out of their neck.
If you want to
that's
see it,
so
watch Hannibal,
morbid.
because there's one in that show.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
there is.
So they wagered that down into an eye for an eye, which was, let's see, somebody's favorite in the chat roll. It was somebody's favorite line was an eye for an eye. You want me to blind them? And then they wagered that down to, okay, well, what if you just break a leg? I'm going to break all their legs and their arms.
And their arms.
You know, we're going up to arms.
Yeah, where did arms become
When
a
did
thing?
we become arms?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Talk about legs.
Let's talk about legs.
Yeah.
He said sprain ankle, and then he's like, I'm gonna break their legs. Like,
Well, it's brilliant negotiating. You start really low. It's like saying offering $1 for a business deal.
Exactly.
Like you
You
start
work
with a
your
black
way in the
eye.
middle.
Like you know they're not going to take a black eye, but it makes breaking their legs sound reasonable compared to murder.
Yes.
So they pair with creative writing and your imagination and sound effects to create this. Whoa, dude, his leg's backwards. Check that out.
Check that out, man. And I just want to talk about what's going on with Jimmy in this scene, because before he makes this negotiation, he successfully negotiates his own freedom just by showing respect the entire time, like these two idiots couldn't have done. And he's about to walk away a free man and never have to see these people ever again. But he knows that in doing so, his actions have committed two kids to die, because it's his fault that they're even anywhere near the situation. Negotiates it down to a broken leg each, drives them to the urgent care. What is the line? Someone wrote it in the chat. Yeah,
I just talked you down from a life sentence to 6 months probation.
I'm the best lawyer ever, and I'm like, you are. Praise, preach.
And this is a great character part of Saul, because George Meeks in the chat earlier said Saul protected Walt and Jesse in season 3 when Gus wanted to kill and Mike came to Saul looking for Jesse, and he lied to Mike to cover for him. So, I mean, it's kind of his downfall if you really think about it watching Breaking Bad, but it's kind of what makes him who he is.
Yeah.
Is that he will go out on a limb for his clients, even if it's 2 broken limbs for his clients. Yeah.
True. All right, I think it's time that we move forward a little bit. So we've got this bar scene, which is, like, again, a very unique way to tell story on television. This silent scene where he's flirting with this cougarific woman, buying her hurricane after hurricane, trying to focus on the prize here.
He knows how to use words, though. He was being pretty suave.
Oh yeah, even as shaken as he was wheeling and dealing. He was nickeling and diming, not nickeling and diming, but he was showing her a good time.
Oh yeah.
did you guys notice though how that was shot? How they were showing the left side of him and then the right side of him and then the left and the right. So maybe like a struggle of who he is and who he wants to be type thing.
What he wants to be doing, what he's thinking about, which is that those kids' broken legs.
There we go.
Yeah. And just snap until he vomits, and it's just like a beautiful piece of visual comedy.
It's the shock. It was great.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It brought him back to human, because nobody would not be affected. Nobody would be unaffected by seeing that.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
through that experience.
Well, I think maybe Mike could be pretty unfazed by it at this point. in his
Mike
life.
has experience in that.
Yeah,
true.
only because Mike's seen worse.
That's true.
But I love that we get. Sorry, going back to the desert really quick. That one quip with what's his name? No-Nos? What's the other guy?
No-Dos?
No-Dos.
No-Dos. When he's like, yeah, dude, break both their legs. And he's just like, crazy Tuco turns on. And I was like, is he going to beat this guy's face in again? He's like, stop helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I love Tuco so much. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking
I'm so
about
glad
him.
that he's back in this show. Another thing, though, that someone brought up in the chat that I think is very important to point out, and it is so key to me about why I'm so intrigued by Nacho, is he's not going to survive this series. Nacho does not exist in the Breaking Bad universe.
Well, I mean, he doesn't exist in this area. It is possible he goes elsewhere or goes to jail.
We can't assume that everyone who's not in Breaking Bad that's in the series is going to die in Albuquerque before Breaking Bad. That's a bad way to go into it.
Fine, not everybody, but this guy is smart enough and ambitious enough that someone will have to take him out at some point.
Well, he's too smart to be working under Tuco.
Exactly, but Tuco is still around. By the end of this series, Tuco is still around.
So that's my only prediction. Is I'm not going to go into it yet.
Right, but I'm very, very curious to see if that goes down. How
it could be that he does, and I'm not going to call this a prediction because I'm not like saying it, but it's a possibility. Like he could die, he could be in jail, he could just move away, he could be Saul's first person that he helps get into like the like illegal witness protection program that he like is very familiar with.
Oh, that's true.
Saul Goodman. He knows how that whole system works, so he has to have done it for somebody.
So he takes the kids to the hospital, and we see that leg that is turned the wrong way.
Beautiful.
Oh man! And he, after this scene where he gets really drunk with the cougar hottie, and he can't follow through because breadsticks. He gets really drunk, gets home, and does not ground himself.
So this is the first time that we established that he's staying with Chuck. I don't think that was established.
I don't think he's staying.
No, he's not.
So it's not home. He goes to Chuck's.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to see his brother. Like, there is a certain, especially when you're drunk, he's like, I want to be with my family.
I want to be with my family.
I almost died today.
Like after that experience, you just need safe place.
And this is the first time. Oh, go ahead, Pegah.
I was saying he just walked in, cell phone in pocket.
Yeah.
Niche, niche.
No, you can't do that. Yeah. So he doesn't ground himself, and this is the first time that we actually see Chuck's symptoms coming into play here, and it's not a pretty sight. And Michael McKean, I've always been fascinated with Michael McKean as an actor, and I love seeing him in dramatic roles. So I'm really excited to see him on the show. And in that first episode, when he says, "I'm gonna get better," it's just so heartbreaking. To see him struggling with that phone was just like I feel so uncomfortable.
But it's so funny to look at. Like in a way, it's like really funny because you know this isn't a real thing. Like it's all mental, but at the same time, it's a cell phone, and to us, it's like it's just a cell phone, dude.
I mean, the instant he even thinks that there's a cell phone there, you see him like his arm stiffens and he like can't quite move the same way. He's like, super uncomfortable.
They're really hitting us hard in the first 2 episodes with just phenomenal acting. Because you really feel like that's a scene that you should be laughing at. If it was played any other way, you would be laughing. But the fact that it's not, you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's, like, mentally messed up.
It's really unfortunate, and it's why obviously why Jimmy cares so much about his brother. It's just something like he knows his brother's in denial. This isn't going to get any better if he doesn't work on it. And that's why he keeps pushing him to take off this damn space blanket.
And nobody's telling him the truth.
How is that gonna help you? How's that gonna help you? The phone's out there. How's that gonna help you? Yeah.
Everybody's enabling him, and then you have did you listen to the podcast yesterday, Matt, or
I listened to a little bit.
Okay, no worries. What we were thinking was, or I don't know, I think we kind of slightly collaboratively agreed on, was that the people at Hamlin are creating the paper trail because they know that he is mentally unstable, but they also know that if they declare him that way, Saul will be able to pull his money out of the company. So that's why they're creating a paper trail, and the blonde at the firm knows that he's mentally incapable, and what Saul was asking her yesterday was, could you please like push that forward? But she's in a gridlock that she can't do anything.
Yeah, she can't, it'll cost her job.
So it's really kind of terrifying to see this scene with Saul, who's the only one who is actually caring for his brother, with the look of disappointment across his brother's face for the hospital bill that isn't even what he thought it would really is. When in reality it kind of is in some ways, but it's not. It's just sad that like the guy's brother is the only person in his life, but he doesn't care for him. He cares more about the opinion of the people at the law firm than his brother.
Well, I wouldn't say that he doesn't care about Jimmy or about his opinion, but it's kind of hard to trust him. Like, it's the reason why he says this isn't slipping Jimmy all over again. We have to remember that before we met these guys, that Chuck was a well-respected, highly paid lawyer, a highly paid attorney of a very respectable practice, versus Jimmy, who used to scam people for money back where they were from, and probably just got a law degree simply because he knew how to talk his way out of stuff, and his brother was making a lot of money. Like, that's what
we know that he went to American Samoa to get his law degree.
Yeah. Like, it's barely a real degree. Like he's just purely about trying to survive and plying his trade, which is his mouth. Yeah. So to see this happen to his brother has just got to be so heartbreaking, and there's not really anything he can do about it. However, when you're out of options, you gotta put your tail between your legs. You gotta go back to the hand that feeds you, aka the court. And we get an excellent montage, very well choreographed and shot, where we see not only the passage of time, but we see the evolution of Jimmy as he starts to get the hang of this public defender stuff.
Yeah, it's showtime.
Yeah, over and over and over. Pegah, what did you think of this sequence?
I loved it. I felt like I kept seeing him. His skills went up in each take. I felt like his mouth was getting quicker. He was, it's like we're watching his skill building, the work in it.
He's becoming Saul in a way.
Yeah, well, he's getting closer. He's getting closer to that mold. But which one of you pointed out while we were watching? He's just pleading guilty to every single case.
Every case is he did this, but he did this, but at the same time, it seems like he's only taking cases that it's literally open and shut cases.
Well, that's what public defender work is like. He's going to be dealing with a lot of people that just are guilty. These are people who can't afford their own lawyer, so they probably don't come from money. It's low quality cases, so a lot of them just are guilty. So Jimmy accepting that is okay, you did it. The evidence is pretty substantial that you did it, so we're going to find the mitigating factors that make it not as bad, so that the judge
will let
it slide.
Slide. I liked the montage, but I would have liked a little bit more details on each case. From the first episode with the whole head thing. I really liked that aspect of the show. I'd like to see more scenes in their completion with that. Maybe if they tie it into the story work more.
I get that, but I wouldn't trade any other part of this episode for more of it.
Oh, no, not any of this episode. And I did like that they threw in that one quick glance from the blonde. I can't remember her name. Kim. One quick glance from Kim going through the going through the courthouse. Kind of shows that she sees that he's kind of doing more and things. And it's even, his brother told him last episode, the easiest way to cut your teeth is to keep doing these public defender cases and just do good work.
Yeah. And that's what he's doing. And he's also continuing to clash with Mike over and over about these stickers. And I'm waiting for their...
the bridge troll.
The bridge troll. A lot of great line reads. And just Jonathan Banks is just so stellar. But I want to see their... I think everyone is impatient to see their relationship escalate quickly. And I can't imagine that it's going to. I don't even know if we're going to get Mike out of that box that he's sitting in the first season.
My prediction from last night was that it'll be next week, or at the very latest the week after, that Mike we get him into the fold.
Okay.
Or at least open up his backstory.
Well, one of the first previews they put out for this show was the scene where things kind of hit their limit with between Mike and Jimmy. So I'm thinking that's gonna be next episode.
Okay. That makes sense to me. You can't just have him be messing around with stickers every week.
Well, I also think because
it's amazing comedy.
It really is, but I feel like if they did it any longer, because I feel like the montage had that purpose of furthering him and Mike, so it made sense that they overflow next episode as opposed to if it was just the first episode and then today they started getting into it.
But at the same time, though, I wouldn't expect a massive jump forward. I'm thinking this relationship is very much baby steps until there's one big step. and we're not going to see them grabbing drinks by the end of next week.
Oh, well, not friends, but when I say
even as colleagues,
Interaction.
What I mean
Walt and Mike got drinks once. It was not friendly.
What I mean by into the fold, I think that Mike is going to become much more of a part of the show.
Got it.
That he's gonna become this active force within Jimmy's world, for better or worse. I think that he won't be a friend necessarily right away,
Right.
but he will be in our storylines.
Got it.
Who do we see Mike beating up in the preview? Who is he beating up?
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Okay, so something's got to happen next week with him, right?
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler. We spoiler alert.
We avoid previews until predictions.
Until predictions.
Okay, prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about that final sequence. So Jimmy finally gets home. He's exhausted. We discover that home is that crappy office in the back of the nail salon. Unfolds his couch bed. Pours out what appears to be like maybe a shot and a half of peppermint schnapps. And is about to sip it when Nacho shows.
You have a client.
You have a client, a customer.
Wait, what?
For you.
He
Like,
jumps up. He's like, "Oh my god, I gotta put my bed away and
Bed away, tie on, jacket on,
pillow in the filing cabinet."
chairs off of desk, move desk, and he just kind of like sweeps right in before Jimmy can even like realize that it's Nacho, and he is very interested in that $1.5 million that you just kind of dropped into conversation out there in the desert.
Yeah, I was listening.
Considering the montage maybe a couple of weeks ago, a month ago.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
That. Give me that, please.
I like to steal from thieves because they can't report it to the police.
Yeah.
And you'll get a buyer's fee.
There you go. $100,000 is pretty good though.
That's a great finder's fee.
Yeah.
I
Finders.
take that. Finders.
Yes.
All he has to do is find out where they're
Where
holding
they're
the money.
hiding it and whether or not it's in cash.
And I'm sure Saul could figure that out because he is smart. And I'm sure
Jimmy.
we're gonna see.
Sure.
Jimmy, we need
I'm
to.
sorry,
you need
guys.
to get
I
on
gotta
the.
get
It's
on
gonna
the
be really hard,
train.
especially when all the screens around us say
Say
Saul
Saul.
on them.
Yeah.
But like it's a slow but steady process to calling this guy Jimmy.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know necessarily. How is it possible? I'm sorry. It is physically impossible for Jimmy McGill to determine the location and nature of the $1.5 million if he is not their lawyer. They're not going to share that information with him, which is why. Oh, but that'll lead into predictions.
They're not going to share the information with him if he was their lawyer.
Why not?
Because
It's privileged.
doesn't matter because they're going to want to get off scot-free like they never even did in the first place. So that's how he's going to get them, is that they don't want to share the information, that they're going to be all secretive.
But here's the thing, though. He's not going to become their lawyer because they already signed with
Hamlin.
With Hamlin, who works at Hamlin. Kim, his good friend Kim.
She wouldn't help him.
She wouldn't help him.
She wouldn't help
She
him.
wouldn't help it. Well, we don't know her that well.
We don't know her at all.
We don't know
just
her
know that
story.
she smokes in the shadows.
And if smoking in the shadows says anything, it's that she's willing to help with shady deals.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't think she helps. I think he finds it through other means because every time Saul shines, it's when he's forced to do something. So I feel like it's a situation where he has to.
Well, here, let's hop into predictions because
Yeah.
I feel like we're at that point anyway.
Yeah.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
Can I just say that they've done such a good job building the environment of this character, from his car to how he dresses to his office, in that he has to move everything around to put on the new persona of that he is somebody else. Like, it's just so phenomenally done that I'm really excited to see where it grows to.
I agree with you. I'm still caught up in this Kettleman money thing, and if I can just make a quick prediction, I don't think he gets to that money next week. I don't think he finds a way to get that money. I think that he screws up royal because, spoiler alert, if you don't like watching the previews from next week, maybe it's time to just skip ahead about 30 seconds.
Whoops.
Yeah. Because
Sorry, guys.
Nacho lands himself in jail next week in an interrogation room. That's not good lawyering. That's not good advice to your client. Hell no.
But the question is, how did he get there? So does Saul rat him out? does Nacho just like when Jimmy doesn't come up with anything, does he just like be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do it myself, and he like goes and tries to blackmail the people?
I feel. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, does he get Jimmy as a lawyer after he's in jail?
Well, Jimmy said you are effectively a client, so he just calls him. He's his lawyer, I guess.
Yeah.
Like official.
Yeah.
What I think Jimmy panics, and I think he tells.
Nacho.
No, I think he tells Kim.
Mm-hmm.
And because they find out that something's happened, and I think it gets Nacho arrested, and then he becomes Nacho's lawyer.
Got it.
And basically they say, you get me off of this or we're going to kill you.
Right.
And this is going to be fire under his ass. He gets them out, and that's how he gets his cartel connections, yeah.
And his cartel clients.
But because Nacho will call him because he owes him one. That's the thing. It's the first time we've seen Saul say, I owe you one. Mm-hmm. And he says that a lot.
Yeah, he owes this guy one, and then where does he start to make money? From the cartel. Or theoretically, I guess it could be from this deal.
In what manner of the word does... Oh, wait, sorry. He owes Nacho one for saving his life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you guys were saying that Nacho would owe him one for getting him off from something that he orchestrated.
No.
Oh, God.
Jimmy owes Nacho one for saving him from Tuco.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat that I think we should all answer.
Yeah.
From
Zev
Zev Palatnik wants to know, when do you think we're going to first hear Saul Goodman? Steve, you wrote back in the chat, you think the final episode of the season 1?
I think the final episode of season 1 will be Saul opening up the law office of Saul Goodman, and they'll end it with a commercial.
Yeah. I think it's the very last moment of this season is basically just like either a name tag or a like paperwork for change of name or whatever piece of it is. I think the last 4 seconds of season 1 is Saul Goodman.
Can I predict it right now? What I think the final scene of the season is?
Well, you guys have both spoken, so I would like to hear Pegah first.
Speak, please. I think it's gonna come way sooner, like episode 6, 7, because he's gonna get into so much trouble, so many like shady things going on that he's not gonna be able to go with James Miguel anymore. Like his brother's gonna force him to change his name.
Okay.
Like you can't be a Miguel.
Personally, not till next season.
Really?
Not till next season. Maybe the final moments of season 1, they encourage him to get a name that sounds a little more Jewy. And he has like his eyes light up, and that's it. And then we fade in next season on Saul Goodman, a law corporation. But I honestly think they're going to continue to push it back.
I think end of this season, they're making the commercial. Crazy stuff's going on with the commercial. Saul Goodman, the commercial plays, it goes to the TV. We come out back in black and white.
In interviews, in interviews, sorry, Bob talks about asking Peter and Vince to do more stuff in the future. And wants to do more stuff in the future. That leads me to believe that they haven't shot anything else in the future. I think that is the only post-Breaking Bad sequence we'll get this season, and hopefully we get more later in the series.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption, because what more do we really have from that? Like, that's a good moment to like end the series on, like coming all the way back around to him in the future.
I feel if they're going to use future, it'd basically be to relate something that's going on with him in the future right now where he is to a case or something that he had in the past.
They have said that there is a potential, and this is not confirmed, but like it was basically like hinted at as, or it could have been a tease, you never know, that will jump into like the middle of Breaking Bad occasionally. So we could jump into the future, and we could jump right into the middle of Breaking Bad to like lend backstory to something that we already saw, and then come back and learn context for it.
Right. Because here's the thing. We don't know. Chuck could have been alive this whole time. He could still be taking care of Chuck. He could still be dealing with a big legal, like class action lawsuit or litigation against Hamlin for his brother's share of the company. We don't know that none of that was going on during the time.
Yes, Saul in the future we only see him while he's dealing with Walt and Jesse. He could have numerous other clients. He could still be representing Nacho.
We don't know. All right, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up here for us. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this second episode of the Better Call Saul After Show. We will be back every single Monday night. I think we're still setting a time, or do we know what time next week?
Timing TBD.
Timing TBD. Keep your eyes peeled to the AfterBuzz TV YouTube page. You should go there and subscribe if you have not already, or just get your iTunes sub box ready for every Tuesday morning. Zach Wilson, where can the people find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatZachWilson. Whole bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. You can catch me on Agent Carter, Grim, Helix with these two crazy guys over here. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
And Stephen Lemieux.
I'm looking at you right now. Hit that thumbs up button right now. Do it. Right now.
People don't like threats.
Doing it already.
Right
They
now.
don't like threats. They don't
Only
like to
two
be threatened.
legs, one on each.
Tuco,
Do it.
relax.
Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StPhenLemieux.
Okay,
You
and
can
Pegah.
follow me at Pegah Rad.
Okay. And you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can find all my videos on YouTube, youtube.com/C/Matt Lieberman, or on SourceFed or SourceFed Nerd. You can also tune into SourceFed Nerd tomorrow. We're going to be doing a table talk that is entirely about both episodes of Better Call Saul. If you want more Better Call Saul coverage. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. Tune in next week. Have a good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Better call you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.